Hello, everyone. My name is Johnny Bellata. I'm the VP of Product for Chain.io, and I'm here with Brian Glick, our CEO, to go over some of the new features we have coming out in our first major release for 2023. We're just going to quickly discuss why we made these improvements to our product, take a walk through what would be an experience for setting up our product from scratch, and also discuss some of the new features that we have. Brian, hello.
Hey, how's it going, Johnny?
Good. How are you? Thank you for walking us through this today. Just to start off, can you give us an idea of the business decisions and the reasons why we wanted to make some of these improvements to the Chain.io application?
Yeah, absolutely. So the biggest driver that we hear from our customers is that the more they can do in a self-service manner, and the more that the application can help guide quickly building integrations with various partners that are logistics and supply chain focused, and that take them through a narrow path that guides them to getting to the business value quickly, is helpful. And so what we've really focused on in building this over the last few months is narrowing our focus of the application to help it guide the entire process of an integration, which means the offline activities, the scoping of that integration, and the execution, and that the underlying platform that we have that sits behind all of our screens, that does all of the millions of transactions a day, runs really well, and that we had an opportunity to focus our energy on the user experience and on helping with all of those things that slow us down from, as an industry, from getting from wanting two systems to work together, wanting two companies to work together, to being done. So that's really been our area of focus.
It's great to see this evolve and become much more ergonomic from some previous versions. So we also know that we've given a lot more control to our customers. And if you could, just take us for a walk through what it would be like to set this up for a new customer from scratch, and start using Chain.io to help with their logistics issues.
Absolutely. So I'm in our new company screen, essentially the starting point. This will be relevant to existing customers, but we'll call this the 2023 release forwarder. So I've got my basic information here, and once I've registered, what this does is it creates a workspace for me. And one of the big changes for our existing customers is we used to have companies and trading partners, and we now have workspaces and integrations. And anything that was migrated from before is still fitting in. Nobody has to change anything with any existing work. It will just show up in these drop-down lists. Many only have one workspace, which will be your company name. And then your integrations will be all of your previous trading partners plus anything you build. So step one here is creating a new integration, which we can do either through this button or by hitting Add New from the integrations menu. This is where the biggest change to the application has occurred. Prior to this release, when you had the integration, you just gave it a name, but then you were left to work with our client success team to identify, of all the different things we can do, which things you wanted to assemble, which Legos you wanted to put together to design your own integration. Now what we're able to do is say, I have a customer X, and customer X needs ASNs and milestones coming out of my my freight forwarding system. So we have this index of these various different integration types that we cover. And behind each of these, you're able to see exactly which types of flows you can do. So in this case, in our data aggregation, and you can work with invoices and milestones and organizations, and the various systems that you can get data from, and the various systems you can deliver data to. So back to our example, we're looking at ASNs and milestones. So we can see here that this lets us very logically send ASNs and send milestones off, and that you can pick up data in any of these different formats, and that you'll be able to deliver it in any of these different formats. So quite a long list for each one. And if you ever need something that isn't there, or you were expecting to see something, you can always open up a support ticket or reach out to your account rep, and they'll help get things added to these lists as you need them. So I'll select this and add this integration. Now that I've done that, the first thing you see here is that this integration isn't licensed. One of the really big pieces of feedback we heard from our customers through last year was there's often you want to set something up and make sure that it's going to work the way you want it before you pay for it. So now you have the ability to do this, set this up, and then license it once you're confident that it has the various things you want. The rule for inactive licenses is that each day at midnight Greenwich time, we reset the integration and disable it. So you're still able to work with them. You're still able to do testing internally. You just have to come in each day and just re-enable the actions. And then once you're licensed, that's your move to production when you begin paying for the integration, and it will stay enabled all the time. So then the next step here within this is we can go in and add a new flow. So these are the same type of things that we've always had, narrowed down to the ones that are specific to this license. And what that helps us with is before this list had maybe 50 items that you could choose from. Now it has the 2 because you've indicated to us that you're trying to do ASNs and milestones. So we don't need to bother you with invoices or purchase orders of things that aren't relevant to that. So we'll set up just one here just as an example. So we can say, I want to set up ASNs. And one little convenience function here, nothing's really changed on this screen, is that the save button is now always available. That was a big little thing asked that we got from our customers, is that sometimes you're up at the top here just making a quick change and you can now hit save without having to go back to the beginning. Everything else in how we set things up and all of that configuration has stayed the same, so we don't have to go through and waste everyone's time with fully configuring one of these. So the next thing that we've created here is this library button. So before you had your flow executions and your setup, we now have library. Library is your workspace to work with your trading partners, with your team, to collect all of the information. So for instance, oftentimes you're exchanging specs, and now you can just hit upload file and grab a file from your hard drive and categorize it and load it right into the library. You can also add memos. So where this is particularly helpful is things like support contact. So at customer X, EDI contact is Jane, and she's at jane@customerx.com. And we can put that in, and we can put that as a support instruction. Also, if we have special notes that, hey, if the customer ever calls, or if we ever have an integration fail because the weight is missing, we have to call this person at operations and let them know. And then through the implementation, you're able to maintain and assign tasks here. So I can say something like do the testing and say we would like testing done on the 13th. And that's going to go in my test plan category and be assigned to me. So these different things are there to help us manage things that our client success team has always worked with you on within the application. So that this is all here. One of the cool things that we also have in this is that in each of these items, if you open it, this little button here copies a link. So anyone else who you've granted access to, you can then paste that link to in your emails or in Slack or Teams or whatever tool you're using, and it'll take them right to this page with that item already open. So if you're referring, for example, to a specific test file that you may have uploaded, you can kind of link right to that, or right to a task or right to a note about that. So we're pretty excited about that, with the idea being to expose and empower your users to be able to do things that maybe they've come to our professional services before, and anyone who's working with our services team will be able to work with them here instead of having things that are going back and forth over email today. So we're pretty excited about that, Johnny. So those are the big changes when it comes to kind of that core workflow of getting something set up.
Seems like we've augmented the collaborative portions of this quite a bit.
Yeah, it's pretty excited about it.
Great.
So
so you showed us how to add integrations. We've taken a look at the library. Could you also step us through how the integrations would tie to the license and how we can get an integration licensed?
absolutely. So under your workspace settings here, we now have a licensing button. And this is where you'll be able to purchase and maintain the items in your license. So in this case, we have nothing yet. So we're going to choose that we want to be on the transform level. And here it shows that unlicensed integration for customer X, that's an ASN and milestone. I'm able to add that license here directly. It gives us the ability to set how many transactions we think we're going to have. This is on a per month basis. So if we think we're going to have less than 5,000 ASNs or milestones per month for that customer, we can just choose one here. And this title is what will actually print on your invoice. So whatever note you need to make, if this is related to a particular department or purchase order, this will go right to your accounts payables department as part of your monthly invoice. So I can hit save here, and we see we get a running total as well as a nice summary. And if you use the print function, which I can't really show you on the screen here, the page actually is set so that it will print. So if you need to email this to somebody for authorization, everything you do on here gets saved in real time, but doesn't affect your bill yet. So you can do this, you can print this, you can send this information off to somebody. I can enter my billing frequency that I'd prefer and my contact information. And then once that's done, I'm able to hit this purchase button. So let's just fill in some information here and hit purchase. It'll give me one more chance to review my summary. And then I will hit agree to my terms of service and hit purchase, and we're on our way. For our existing customers, this won't be active in the initial release. We are migrating everyone's billing into this over the course of the next quarter or so. So anything you have today, you don't have to worry about this with. All of that licensing is already grandfathered in the background. And as we migrate things in, your account reps will let you know when this becomes available for you. So, but nothing you have today is affected by this. It will all continue to run as it has run in the past.
That's great to hear. We have one more thing that we've really been working on, and that's the notifications and alerts system that we'd like to integrate.
Awesome.
Could you speak a little bit about that and how we might be using that for this release and also in the future?
Sure. Awesome. So up here in the top right, we now have two new buttons. So we used to have a sort of hovering support button. We've moved that up here just to get it out of the way. So you can still contact support via the application. And the reason we really encourage that versus email is it will tell support exactly what page you're on at the time that you ask the question. So they know exactly, especially if you're looking at a particular transaction and you open with support, they will know what transaction you were in at the moment you ask the question. And the second is this alert button, which will give you various notifications. So in this initial release and in the next few releases, this is where we'll be putting notifications as new features are deployed on the fly throughout the month. And we'll be doing summaries like this on a more regular basis, but you'll see in real time as we start to deploy things, you'll get notifications in here for either new partners that have been added to the network or new functionality. And then in an upcoming release, we're going to give the ability that when you configure a flow, today you can configure it to get an email or a webhook notification if something errors or is skipped. You'll be able to have that go into this alert area as well, and they'll be categorized so that you can manage both of those things separately.
Fantastic. I think that we've gone over all of the upgrades that we have been working on over the past few months to get ready for this major release in 2023. Really appreciate you stepping us through it, Brian, and showing us what what we've been working on and how it's going to benefit our customers.
Happy to help.
Yeah.